got you nowhere. It got you in the same position that you've been in your whole life. Your whole parents' life, they grandparents' life, they grandparents' life. It's a never-ending cycle. When is we gonna do something that's gonna profit? Right? You think chasing money is gonna profit you? No, it's not gonna work, man. Because what? The Most High God, Yahweh, created you, and it's time to listen to Him instead of the goddamn white man. Read. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, starting at verse 1. Bring it up. This is the book of the commandments. This is the book of the commandments of God. Read it over again. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse 1, right? This is the book of the commandments of God, right? And the law that endures forever. The law that endures forever. What's going on, brother? What's your nationality? What's your nationality? Black. No, you wouldn't be black, brother. Right? Most likely you would be an Israelite, brother. It's time to come back to the laws of God. Read. This is the book of the commandments of God, right? And the law that endures forever, right? All they that keep it shall come to life. Right? All that keep it shall come to life. Read. But such as leave it shall die. Right? You shall die. Thus saith the Lord, man. Our people left the book of the commandments, right? And now we in this place at the bottom, man. Right? We teaching you to come back to the book of the life so you shall live. Thus saith the Lord, man. Right? Right? We out here teaching our young brothers stop killing each other. Right? Our sisters to stop committing adultery, man. Sleeping from man to man. Right? We teaching you good things. But in your ear, it sounds like hard things. Right? But like read in Isaiah 58, it say, cry loud, spare not, man. All right, we telling you what God said, man. Right? Thus said the Lord. Read. This is the book of the commandments of God, right? And the law that endureth forever. The law that endureth forever. Read. All they that keep it shall come to life. All that keep the law shall come to life. Read. But such as leave it shall die. And if you leave it, you shall die. Thus saith the Lord. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Right? So, yeah, man. Praying that somebody hear this word, man. Right? We pray that the Most High put a seed in somebody's ear, man. So they can get the word, man. Because our people don't know what the hell they doing right now. Right? Doing all kind of wickedness right now. They don't know. But we got to tell them. And that's why we out here. Goddamn devil, man. Well, yeah, 12 and 13. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 13. Bring it up. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. The conclusion of the whole matter. Read. Fear God, right? And keep his commandments. Do what? Fear God and keep his commandments. Fear God and keep his commandments. Thus said the Lord, right? The Most High God name is Yahweh, right? Who you call God, right? And his son name will be Yahweh, who you call Jesus, right? Fear God and keep his commandments, right? With that, we say all praise to the Most High. One y'all shalom. One y'all shalom. Hey, you can't fan around? Take the hood off. It's a lot. Y'all tighten this up too far. Can't rotate. Now you can rotate. First off, giving all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name is Yahweh in the Hebrew tongue, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Now, as we've been out here, you got to understand, we just witnessed one young brother shoot at another young brother. You got to understand this is detrimental to our communities because we are killing each other at an alarming rate. And when it's enough, it's going to be enough. We get mad when white people kill us. We should get just as mad with our own killers. Because why? They're doing exactly what the white folks is doing. You got to understand this. That's why we must come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Because he commanded that we love one another. Understand, we are not each other's enemies. We got real life enemies. You gotta understand this. Most people hate a thief, right? We hate thieves. You hate when somebody steals something from you. When they could have just opened up their mouth and asked. You know what I'm saying? They gave you the option to say either yes or no. But you gotta understand, we got real live enemies out here. And one group that's our enemies, thus saith the Lord, that's what they did. They stole your God-given identity. So yeah, you won't kill somebody that looks like you, but you won't try to get back what belongs to you, which is your identity. These so-called people that call themselves Jews in the world today, you know those white people that always dressed in white and black, and they wear a little cap on their head. You know what I'm saying? They say that they are Jews. But in the Bible, it's like God said that they are not. So those people stole your identity, and they claim to be Jews. But in the Bible, it tells you that they're the synagogue of Satan. You gotta understand this. Who runs the entertainment industry? It's the so-called Jewish man. If they are the true chosen people of God, then why is everything that's being taught and fed to our people? It's evil.
That's a good question. If they run the entertainment industry and everything they put out is evil, can they really be considered the people of God? Not at all. Mighty Brothers of HY Milwaukee bringing it out, trying to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yahweh B'Shem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai being the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Welcome. Dag Nabbit, welcome. All right, to another edition of the Wednesday Wake Up Call. Okay. Aiming to wake up the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to their true identity according to the Bible and what they should be doing in these last days, and bringing it together through biblical prophecy. Okay. Kum Yashala, rise Israel. Get up out of that sleep, that slumber, that dead state, the valley of the dry bones. Time to wake up, Neo. We stuck in the matrix. And double honors to our elders who paved the way, hitting the streets, still continuing to do this work. Let's get it. Let's go straight into it. I mean, what happened recently? Anything? Anything going on from week to week? Man, we be here all night to talk about everything. But, you know, when you start to see National Guard troops on American streets, when you kind of see the Marines, you know what I'm saying, trained to kill on American streets, ICE raids in American streets, police brutality on a large scale, being shown by helicopters and people with smartphones, so forth and so on. You start to realize it's a lot going on, but we don't want to just focus in on that. All right. A lot of people are just focusing on that. We want to focus in on everything. You know what I'm saying? Get a broad sense of this end times revelation that is happening right before our very eyes. All right. So we're gonna start with this class is called Porkchop Pastor. You know what I'm saying? Because we got some pastors out there that just going with the wind. You know what I'm saying? When I say we, I'm talking about America. You know, we ain't got nothing to do with this type of nonsense that they be doing. You know what I mean? Because Israelites aim to follow the law, statute, commandments. These pork chop pastors say that the law, statute, commandments are done away with. Let's see how that's working out for them currently. All right, we're gonna start with Matthew chapter 7 and verse 15. So of course, we're gonna start off again also by saying Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is protected by the Fair Use Act. This is a teaching class. This is a class, thus being protected by the Fair Use Act. This is for educational purposes only. Let's begin. Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are raving wolves. So people that look like you, that might talk your lingo, shalom. They might say they read the Bible. They might live down the street from you, right? Might even live right next door. But they come to you as they're false prophets, and you know they can mimic you, but at the same time, on the inwardly, they doing something completely wicked that just is totally off. Let's continue. Let's without further ado, you know. So this is in New Jersey. This pastor Porkchop. Hold on.
And
Slack here. Pastor Porkchop talks about, you know, God is good and God is great and all this other stuff, but deep down inside, he's a stone cold pedophile. Let's get it. This is in Jersey. At a 7-day evangelist, I believe I'm saying it. Church. And oh boy, like the Most High said, at the end, everything's gonna be revealed. So we at the end, so it's being revealed. This was going on in these churches that say the law's done away with. So in their mind, you can do whatever they want. They want to sleep with your wife, they can do that. You can eat whatever you want. You can eat a porcupine. You know what I'm saying? That's a delicacy in their eyes. You know, I had some porcupine meat today. You know what I'm saying? You might as well eat rats and mice. You know, how far does it go? Eat a cockroach. You know, have some kangaroo meat. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Eat some bear meat. There's people ate bear meat and they froze it in the freezer. Obviously, put it in the freezer for about a couple years or a year or something like that, because they had to kill the parasites. But the parasites didn't die. They ate it and everybody got sick. You know what I'm saying? Bacteria start eating them. You know what I mean? But this is Christianity 101.
an active church member of this Burlington County House of Worship is at the center of a child sex abuse investigation tonight. Authorities say he sexually assaulted a young girl for close to 2 years. It is Friday night, and the big story on Action News is the arrest of 44-year-old Sean Tracy of Mount Holly. Police say he had sex with a girl under the age of 13 multiple times. The two are allegedly members of the Burlington Seventh-day Adventist Church. Action's reporter Leland Pinder has been following the story and is live from Burlington
with the latest on the investigation. Leland.
Rick, I talked to the pastor by phone today. He said he is just shocked by these allegations. The church's conference says that the suspect and the victim both attended here. They say they are cooperating fully with law enforcement and have taken steps to ensure the safety and well-being of all those involved. Concern from neighbors for the child victim of alleged sexual abuse by a church member of this Burlington, New Jersey church.
I hope they have privacy. I hope they have help, professional help. I hope that they are able to still cling on to God in the midst of all of this happening.
44-year-old Sean Tracy is facing numerous charges in connection with having sex with a child under 13 years old.
Kind of crazy just to hear about that so close to home.
Authorities say their investigation began after a tip earlier this week. They discovered the alleged abuse occurred over a 2-year period at multiple locations in the county. The Burlington County Prosecutor's Office described Tracy as a deacon at Burlington Seventh-day Adventist Church, but the pastor disputed that to Action News, saying he's simply an active member of the congregation. An active member who's now in jail and relieved of all responsibilities and involvement in church activities.
No one deserves this. There's no justification, no explanation.
In a statement, the New Jersey Conference of Seventh-day Adventists said in part, "This news is deeply distressing and we are treating the matter with the utmost seriousness and urgency." The Burlington Church is committed to providing a safe, nurturing environment for all our members, particularly our children and youth. There was no answer at Tracy's home in Mount Holly Friday. Off camera, one neighbor told us they know him to be, quote, an all right guy. A characterization now called into question by the suspect's alleged actions.
That's disgusting, and it's all too prevalent.
And you can view that full statement from the New Jersey Conference of Seventh-day Adventists at 6abc.com. In the meantime, here the church says they're now reviewing their relevant safety protocols and safeguards as they ask for compassion and prayer as they deal with this. Prosecutor's office says their special victims unit is asking anyone to please come forward if they have any reason to believe that Tracy may have had sexual contact with any other children. Live here in Burlington, Leland Pinder, Channel 6, Action News. Rick?
So that is happening in Burlington, New Jersey at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Pastor was like, he ain't no deacon. I don't know that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Keep throwing him under the bus quick. He was probably deacon the whole time. You know what I'm saying? He was a deacon the whole time. And then all of a sudden, he's just a member. I don't know. We can't confirm that. We can't confirm that. But yeah, so being exposed in these last days, let's go to Jeremiah 23 and verse 10. It's a real sexually perverse country. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't just happen at the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Catholic Church was putting pedophiles in each district. You know, each church had at least have one pedophile. That was probably their rule in a rule book. Okay, Jeremiah 23 verse 10. For the land is full of adulterers. For because of swearing the land mourneth. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. Verse 11. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yea, in my house I have found their wickedness, saith the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And you know, these churches in America, of course, you know, they're like built on Native American burial grounds and just like, you know, the rituals they do inside the church after the church is over. Best believe that occurs. They've been caught. One instance, it was a priest that was laying with two women, two harlots, actually. I guess you got to be a harlot anyway if you're going to, you know, do that in a church, but they're like literally pay for play type harlots, right? In the church on top of the altar. And the only reason they know about it is because somebody walked by and looked in the window, because obviously it's a church and, you know, the lights are on. They're like, oh, I wonder what pastor's doing today. Pastor was doing the hookers. You know what I'm saying? That's what pastor was doing on top of the altar with a video camera. Like, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the first time he did it. Might have been the last, or might not. You know what I'm saying? All he has to do a Jimmy Swagger, I have sinned in front of the congregation. They're like, I forgive you. You know, you're not such a bad guy, because he makes them feel better about themselves for doing all the matter of wickedness that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You gonna get me into heaven, right? You good with the man upstairs, right, baby? I got you. That's what happens, man. That's what happens. Okay. Let's continue on. We got another our top story of the Porkchop pastors. Now, one pastor, right, from MAGA, the Make American Great organization of white supremacists, he's a Negro, right? This bull actually was he's having like his sermon or whatever like that, and he said to the world, it's on the internet, you can watch it now. I can't think of the guy's name. I don't want to play the video because the guy that's commentating, he's just cursing a whole bunch. And I already got Cardi B on here at the end. She's cursing a whole bunch. So I don't want to have, a foul language type event here. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying, yeah, ever since I chose Republican, I'm getting a bunch of money, man. They give me my Cash App, man. They like, yo, what's your Cash App? Let me wire you something, and he's hype about it. Like, yo, I'm getting paid off being a pawn for white supremacists. He said he was in the Rose Garden and somebody walked up to him, was like, yo, what's your Cash App, man? I'm trying to wire you something. He was like, oh, I thought he was gonna give me $100, or maybe $200. And then the next day, he didn't give me anything. And I said, all right, he must have forgot. He had a lion spirit on him. But the Saturday I woke up, it was $10,000 in my personal account. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. I should have been doing this. I should have been sold my people out for $10,000. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reality, man. These pork chop pastors, our Christian brothers and sisters have fallen under the spell of I can do whatever I want and still make it to the kingdom of heaven. Use a whole lie. I don't know what Bible you're reading, but thus saith the Holy Bible, thus saith the Lord, you got works to do. Faith without works is dead. All right, so let's get Jeremiah. We're going to stay in 23. Let's go down to verse 16. Because old boy that we about to watch, he got in front of the pulpit and all that, and he said, yo, Jesus put their hands on my father, and he brought down his high blood pressure. And that nigga died on the spot. So this is 10 tribes we just watched. I guess that's 10 tribes. It might, I'm gonna guess 10 tribes we just watched. And here comes Slakia, Southern Kingdom. And here comes Northern Kingdom that we about to watch. Northern Kingdom's down there telling lies in front of everybody on live stream, and he got on his knees and he died in front of everybody. And we about to watch that. Let's get Jeremiah 23, verse 16. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophet that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak a vision of their own heart and not out of the mouth of the Lord. All right. So let's watch this joint. He's Bull's a stone cold liar. Jesus came down and put his hands on your father. Man, if you want to go ahead somewhere, let's watch it.
Pastor Sergio Carvino of the Pentecostal Church of God is Love died after falling ill during a service held on Saturday night. The religious ceremony was broadcast live on social media. Witnesses filmed the moment when the 47-year-old pastor fell ill while giving a speech. Some of the faithful tried to help him. The incident took place in Caxias do Sul, in Rio Grande do Sul. The priest's son said that he had no diagnosis that could justify his sudden death. Then I knew that Jesus Christ had come to the land of us with the umbrella, put his hand on my father's head, and said, Jesus, heal your worker. He came to bring you supper. Jesus controlled my father's blood pressure, and he went hallelujah.
Everybody on Clubhouse, he ain't getting up. He got on his knees and he
Oh my God.
He said, Jesus put his hands on my father's head and lowered his blood pressure. That's the last thing he said before he died. That should give you fair warning that what you say actually matters. You know what I'm saying? Especially you say you're a man of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? We saw that too with the Edomite woman that was on that she was a comedian and she got on stage like everybody's scared of the COVID vaccine. Everybody's scared. Not me. I got 3 boosters. I got the HPV. I got the flu shot. I got all she named all these shots she got. And I'm fine. And she said, Jesus loves me. And she looked like she seen some angel. You know what I'm saying? Looked up, started wobbling, boom, slammed on the ground. Shorty's messed up, man. Shorty was gone. She didn't die though, but she hit her head with the force of like 7 men. Just boom. You hear the mic drop and everything. Right after he said, "Jesus loves me." So when it says, every idle word, you know what I mean? Death and life is in the power of the tongue. It's a few things. That tongue is a strong member. You know what I mean? The Most High says a few times in the Bible, watch what you say. You know what I mean? You don't want to be in the middle of talking, and then that's the last thing you say is some lie. You know what I mean? Say, come on, it's time to go. Time to go. All right, let's stay in Jeremiah 23. Let's go down to verse 21. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. Jesus ain't come down and put his hand on your father's head and lower his blood pressure. You pork chop pastor. You know what I'm saying? You take the words of the Almighty, take the words of God, and then you twist them to make you look good, to make you seem better than what you are. Because first things first, you say that the law's done away with. So that means we can kill, we can have adultery, sleep with other men's wives, we can steal whatever we want. The law's done away with, right? You know what I'm saying? But then in the same breath, like one of the pastors talking about like you have sin. Don't you have sin? Hold up. You talking about sin? Sin's the transgression of the law. I thought there's no more sin. It's a free fall. But with that mind state, you know what I mean, the Most High God will be taking them out of here. You know what I mean? And when they do, you can best believe we're going to talk about it on the Wednesday wake-up call. Let's continue on. In chariot news, what happens when people see chariots? They think it's like a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for some people it is, but for others, not so much. And we're going to talk about the not so much side of life. Let's go to Psalm chapter 115 and verse 3. The chariots, the so-called UFOs, the so-called UAPs, they got a whole bunch of names now for them, but the scriptures call them the chariots of the Most High God. It's actually a documentary. I think it's Zachariah Citron. I gotta look that up. But it's called The Chariots of God. Very good documentary. You can get on Prime if you want to pay for it. It don't cost that much, like $5 or something like that, because it's an older documentary, 1970s or whatever. But it just goes to show you that all over the world, on every cave you can think of, not every cave, but you know what I'm talking about. Inside the caves, the places are old, the pictures, the hieroglyphics, the descriptions that people had back in the day, news reports, whatever. It just goes to show you that they've been around forever. Okay, this ain't nothing new. But they really smashing on Esau. We're gonna watch that video. in a little bit. So where we at? Psalm chapter 115, verse 3. But our God is in the heavens. He have done whatever he had pleased. God does whatever he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? And you can't get a handle on it as much because, you know, sometimes he'll drop them out the sky. Sometimes he'll knock them out the sky and then lift them up again just so they could tell the story. You know what I mean? So the Most High is he's great and terrible. You know what I'm saying? You'll never know what type of mood he's in today, you know? So it's best to be on your P's, Q's, and carrots, or something like that. But I mean, with Esau and other nations, he just playing with them. You know what I'm talking about? But with us, we just got to get it together because, you know, unless you want this to happen to you while you 30,000 feet in the air, suggest you repent, keep these laws, statutes, commandments. Let's go to Psalm chapter 104 and verse 3. But we're gonna watch this video with Esau getting played with and him talking in his own words. You know what I'm talking about? He's gonna say in his own words what it is and what it ain't.
Not a territory and confirm you cannot identify the aircraft. Not an aircraft. Not a territory at Melbourne. Can you describe the aircraft? Not a territory. Every flying by the long sky. Call me right now, Melbourne. How large would the object be? Like a state. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me also. It's got a green light and sort of metallic light. It's all gone in the airside. This cigar-shaped object, like a circular foil, dome on. It's a solid object. It was a metallic structure to it. And you could see lights reflecting off the structure, and you could not see any of the stars or behind the object itself. Notice here, Julia, confirm the aircraft just vanished. Again? Notice here, Juliet, is the aircraft still with you? Oh, no. From the southwest. Albert, aircraft is hovering on top of me again. While it was in this position, the green light came out from the undercarriage of the UFO.
Colonel Coyne cut the power and set the controls for a steep dive. In spite of this, the helicopter was pulled upward toward the UFO from an altitude of 1,700 feet to an altitude of above 3,700 feet. Colonel Coyne and his crew observed the strange UFO at close range for approximately 2 minutes.
UFOs have often been seen in the area by many witnesses, and a beam of intense energy has figured prominently. But other witnesses tell of a greenish glow or mist. Charles Berlitz has recorded for us the case of Chuck Wakely, who was piloting for Sunline Aviation in Miami. Wakely had completed a charter run to NASA and was headed back to Miami. According to him, the sky was perfectly clear. Suddenly, he was surrounded by an intense greenish light, so powerful, in fact, that he could no longer see outside of the plane. Wakely said his instruments then began to malfunction badly. Soon, there was little he could do but release the controls and let the plane fly itself. Then, according to Wakely, the glow just as suddenly faded and everything returned to normal.
And although Charles Wakely survived to tell his incredible story, It may be that the Bermuda Triangle eventually brought about his sudden death. Wakely was a professional pilot with over 10 years' experience at the time of the incident. He was completing a routine flight. After dropping off charter passengers in Nassau, he was on his way back to Miami. The weather was very clear. The stars were crisp and shining.
This cockpit's being filled with a green light. Instruments going haywire. Can't control the aircraft. So we just let go. We start flying itself.
Charles Wakely was determined to explore the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle.
Case entry number 31. Alice Johnson. Subject was flying from Miami. Halfway to destination, subject had an encounter with an unknown force.
Yes, I have been to glowing reefs. Very life, same feeling of horror, just like the other pilots don't want to talk about it.
Wakely's research ended tragically that night in 1974. The killer and the motive are still a mystery.
So if disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle are part of the UFO abduction phenomenon, have there ever been missing time episodes there? Take, for example, the case of National Airlines Flight 401.
The Miami Tower was called for a time check. The instrument panel clock was right on. They were 20 minutes out and right on schedule. Later, the co-pilot would remember seeing a strange green mist that enveloped the aircraft, but otherwise everything was completely normal. But in the Miami Tower, the air traffic controller was jolted when the blip of the approaching Flight 727 suddenly vanished from the radar screen.
I've just lost Flight 727.
The controller immediately went into emergency priority status. Within minutes, the Coast Guard Search and Rescue Squadron was in action, and the Miami airport prepared for the worst.
I think my watch is broken.
When the flight attendant checked for any last-minute instructions, she couldn't believe she had completed her usual 10 to 12-minute cabin duties in less than 3 minutes. And the co-pilot was surprised to discover the greenish mist that enveloped the aircraft since the time check was gone, not only from about the aircraft, but from the sky itself. Precisely 10 minutes from the time Flight 727 had vanished from the radar screen, it just as suddenly and mysteriously reappeared.
Function here? Doesn't make sense.
The complex equipment was in perfect working order, as the ongoing computer and manual scans verified. Flight 727 landed without incident, with the crew understandably curious about the emergency equipment along the runway. And they were all incredulous when told that their arrival was 10 minutes late, despite the fact that the instrument panel clock synchronized exactly with the earlier tower time check. It was now, along with every one of the crew's watches, 10 minutes slow.
It isn't just beams of light or beams of energy that punctuate the puzzle of the Bermuda Triangle. There is also some sort of fog or mist, and it seems to have a variety of peculiar effects on ships and planes.
There have also been numerous accounts about disc-shaped UFOs under the water in the same way as they perform in the air.
Richard Weiner, author of The Devil's Triangle, relates a case that seems to corroborate these reports of underwater UFO sightings. He tells of a charter boat operator named John Carpenter and of his remarkable experience in the Bermuda Triangle. Carpenter apparently saw two UFOs exploring the water with some sort of projecting energy beam. Carpenter then saw exactly what so many others had reported seeing. Carpenter's experience would seem to confirm that whatever is going on in the Bermuda Triangle goes through the water or through the air with equal ease.
We noticed that the compass began to act up. It was oscillating. It's like you had a strong magnet in the proximity of the compass. And we happened to notice about this time a strange greenish light coming in low over the water out of the southeast. And it was coming at a very slow clip. And it came in and hovered right above the water. And the water that night was very calm because there was no clouds and no storms. The moon was almost full. And the visibility was excellent. And this object hovered right above the surface of the sea for a few moments. And then it just turned up on its edge and descended right out of sight into the depths.
And a number of such spacecraft seen approaching ships and actually disappearing under the water.
Okay, so let's get Psalm chapter 104 and verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters? Didn't they just say that? Who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So from the water up into the heavens, those chariots are everywhere. Okay, so with that, we're going to segue into the next story, right? And this is in Colombia. Colombia has been in the news as of late. We're going to talk about more the 6.7. It was 6.5, I think, got upgraded. 6.7 magnitude earthquake in Bogota, Colombia, one of its major cities. There was an assassination attempt on a person running for president. I don't know if he officially checked. He got shot 3 times in the head. Them Colombians is tough, man. You know what I'm saying? But he got shot 3 times in the head. And another situation where there have been 19 bombings and 7 people unalived. So what predated that? What is going on in Colombia? Okay. Just like talked about, when you see chariots, you know, oh, they look nice, look pretty, look at the pretty lights, look the way they move. But normally when you see chariots, it's coming with a judgment. Okay. You know, hopefully Israelites see them and it gives you hope. You know what I'm saying? Let me keep going in the right direction. You know what I mean? But that doesn't happen for everybody. Everybody, a lot of people see them. It's the beginning of the end. All right, so let's get matter of fact, let's just watch this. We're gonna watch this next video, and then we'll talk about it more. So this happened in Colombia. A ball, if you will, metal sphere landed. They picked it up. They put water on it. Steam comes off of it. You touch it. It's cold to the touch. They X-rayed it. They said there's 18 different layers in this metal sphere. They can't find any ridges or, how somebody made it. You know what I mean? There's ancient writings on the outside of it. So they say. But enough talk. Let's watch it.
A perfect metal sphere falls from the sky in Colombia. No seams, no screws, and symbols that no one can explain. Scientists are baffled. Conspiracy theories are exploding. And now the world is asking, is this the proof we've been waiting for? Or something even stranger? It started like something out of a science fiction film. A mysterious metal sphere, perfectly round, gleaming under the Colombian sun, was discovered near the town of Buga in early 2025. Locals say it fell from the sky. Witnesses reported seeing a flash in the clouds followed by a thud on the ground. When they rushed over, what they found was a smooth silver orb, cold to the touch, just over 4 pounds, and unlike anything they'd seen before. What makes this object so unusual isn't just its sudden appearance. It's what's not there. No seams, no screws, no weld marks, just a flawless metallic shell with strange markings and runes etched across its surface. It looked made, but made by who and why? Researchers from Colombia's Universidad del Valle quickly got involved. One of them, Dr. Jose Luis Velázquez, a respected radiologist, conducted internal scans of the object and found something even stranger inside. The orb wasn't hollow, it was layered. 3 distinct concentric metal shells enclosed a set of 9 smaller spheres, almost like a cosmic nesting doll. These inner spheres were perfectly spaced, suspended in a way that baffled even seasoned metallurgists. No known fabrication process could explain how they got inside without leaving a single mark. But it gets weirder. When the surface symbols were run through AI translation models, some characters were found to resemble ancient alphabets, Celtic Ogham, early Mesopotamian cuneiform, and even symbols seen in crop circles reported over the past few decades. The AI generated a rough interpretation of the message, and while nothing definitive could be confirmed, the themes were chillingly consistent: transformation, elevation of human consciousness, protection of the earth, and a warning about imbalance. Now here's where the internet ran with it. Social media lit up, hashtags like number BUGA sphere and number ALIEN message trended for days. TikTok creators speculated it was a gift, a warning, a seed from an alien civilization. Some even claimed the sphere might be a data capsule, a message in a bottle, containing knowledge from another world, just waiting to be unlocked. Of course, skeptics stepped forward too. Julia Mossbridge, a cognitive neuroscientist and futurist, suggested that the orb might not be alien at all, just an extremely well-designed art installation or conceptual piece. Without peer-reviewed testing and proper provenance, she said, we have to treat it like a fascinating mystery, not a smoking gun from space. And that's fair. But this isn't the first time something like this has happened. In 1974, the Betz Mystery Sphere was discovered in Florida. That object, too, was seamless, metallic, and had unexplained internal mechanics. It would vibrate, move on its own, even emit strange sounds. And just like the Buga sphere, no one could fully explain how it worked or where it came from. So what do we have here? A prank? A prototype? A relic from a future we haven't reached yet? Or something else? The Buga sphere is still in the possession of the university and under ongoing investigation. Scientists are testing its metallurgy, magnetic resonance, and radiological profile. So far, no radioactivity, no known alloys, no clear answers. And in a world where answers are often Googled in seconds, this silence is deafening. Maybe that's the most powerful part of this whole story. It's a rare moment of mystery, a reminder that we still live on a planet where not everything is mapped, known, or explained. Whether this sphere is from deep space or deep within someone's imagination, it's ignited something very human in all of us. Wonder, curiosity, and the quiet hope that we're not alone. So the next time you look up at the sky and see something flash across the clouds, remember the sphere in Colombia. It might be nothing, or it might be the beginning of something far bigger than we understand.
Tembló en Colombia.
All right, now let's continue on what's happening in Colombia. They say magnitude 6.3, but I seen magnitude 6.7. Esau likes to downplay earthquakes for whatever reason, but other countries, they don't have no reason to lie. You know what I'm talking about? Well, for every reason, because they lie. That's just, I'm pretty sure we're all aware of that. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They come out speaking lies. They like goo goo gaga. Supposed to be goo goo gaga. Don't you're lying, baby. You know what I'm saying? Got a little infants lying, man. Okay. Let's get Baruch chapter 4, verse 32. So as you see the sphere, they put it in AI, the symbolism is talking about like evolving consciousness and you know what I mean, helping the planet and all that. That'll be a message to y'all, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Expand your consciousness. What does that mean? Expand your awareness. Okay. Don't be closed-minded. Don't be closed off to the reality what's happening around you. And what's that reality? That the Most High is going to send his son back and destroy this planet. You know what I'm saying? Well, destroy the evil people on this planet. Okay? That's the reality. So you got to get ready for that. You got to get ready for, get your neck strong. You know what I'm saying? Are you doing everything in your power to make it, to make your election sure? You ready to put on a crown that weighs hundreds of pounds? I know that the crown that King David had got from the heathens, that joint was husky. It's made of like, the crowns are made of like precious metals, gold, and you know what I mean, things of that nature. So and rubies and I don't know, sapphires, emeralds, all types of amazing things. So get your neck strong, get the sin away from you and be prepared for what's to come. You know what I mean? Donald Trump got troops on the ground now. Iran in the Middle East right now, as we speak, the bases, American bases in the Middle East, and I think even as far as Europe, are being evacuated. Why? Because the talks of nuclear de-escalation with Iran is being they're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to have another 6 round of talks, I think this Sunday, but they're saying more than likely that's not going to happen. So if they don't denuclearize Slovakia, then war is inevitable. So that's why they're getting all the people, the non-essential personnel, the families that are in these military bases and telling them you got to go somewhere else. War is on the horizon, okay? So it's a good time to get your life together. All right, let's read Baruch chapter 4 and verse 32. And this is going to Colombia, because Colombia, what? Infiltrated by the heathens, Spanish, Portuguese nations, the Edomites, destroyed, murdered the inhabitants of these places. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. Presidential candidates again popped 3 times in the head. Major earthquakes are occurring and bombings are happening in Colombia. All after this sphere fell out the sky. Colombia has not been in the news like that. I'm talking about international news. Not saying they don't have any problems over there, but international news, they've been all over the place. All right. Baruch chapter 4, verse 32. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. Verse 33. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad at thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. So let's watch this next video, as in Clubhouse. Listen to what a major earthquake sounds like.
Dios. Viene para acá, Dios. Bolitas en medio. Qué horrible. Está temblando terrible.
House has collapsed.
Pero todo se perdió.
We lost everything.
Todo.
Even my
Ya
bed broke
hasta la cama.
because the weight of the walls fell on it.
Ya estamos a la deriva.
We are adrift.
Tengo un niño de 9
I have a
años.
9-year-old son and a 7-year-old son. He is injured.
Pues en Cundinamarca, en Paratebueno, una afectación en la vía nacional.
I can't pronounce that. National roads damaged. The epicenter is where more damage reports.
En la inspección Santa Cecilia,
Especially inspection of
No
Santa.
tenemos reportes de pérdida de vidas humanas.
Slovakia. Too fast. Let me slow it down. Especially in the inspection of Santa Cecilia and La Yopora.
No tenemos reportes
Luckily,
de
as of now, we have no
vidas
reports of
humanas,
death.
afortunadamente, a este momento, los reportes
The
tienen que
reports
ver
of
con
damage
daños
on
en
roads,
infraestructura
damages to
vial, con
buildings,
daños en algunas edificaciones, particularmente edificaciones
especially old
antiguas como
buildings like
iglesias,
churches.
reportes de daños en Cibaté,
The
en
reports of damage in Cebete, Melina, or Medina, and even, oh man, I ain't gonna try to pronounce that. Something else.
Medina, incluso en Chiquinquirá,
Chiquinquirá,
un sismo
there
de
it is.
magnitud
The earthquake was
6.5,
magnitude
en profundidad
6.5,
relativamente cercana a
with
la
depth from the
superficie,
surface,
entre 10 y 15
between
kilómetros,
10
ocurrió
and
en el
15
Llanero, en el sector de
kilometers.
Paratebueno, municipio de Cundinamarca. Las réplicas son
50
cerca de
aftershocks.
50. A
They
este
will keep on
momento
happening.
van a seguir ocurriendo.
Luckily,
Afortunadamente
they have been
han
relatively
sido
soft.
relativamente.
I need an interpreter, man. Goodness gracious. I could barely speak English, so you don't give me the line when it comes to anything else other than that. Get better at my Hebrew though. Okay, so Colombia's getting trashed. You know what I mean? All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And what happened? That sphere fell out the sky and things just started getting dark in Colombia. You know what I'm saying? So when you see a chariot, when you see anything coming from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, hey, you know, people are thinking that's a good thing. Saying get your act together. It's about to get dark. All right, so in international news, let's talk about it. In Austria, apparently a angry Austrian decided that he was going to take matters in his own hands and just shoot up a school. Almost like Dylan Roof shooting up a church. And I think he might have unalived just as many people. So they didn't show a picture of the assailant, but if it was somebody that's like a migrant or somebody with melanin in their skin, they would have clearly showed that. Austria is a very Nazi-iest country. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I believe his name is. He, unalived Tuki, even though it seemed he was writing children's books, that he got his life together. Still, that is his legacy of executing Tuki Williams and not keeping him alive, turning him, maybe possibly turn around the whole Crips and Bloods feud, somebody like that. Could possibly change things, but anytime Esau gets a chance to unalive somebody, they're going to take it. So what happened in Austria? Let's figure this one out. Let's go to Jeremiah 49 and verse 22. This book of Jeremiah, chapter 49. Slovakia. Okay, we'll start at 21. Jeremiah 49, and we'll start at verse 21. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry of the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. You know what I mean? The Most High will set you up. The Most High will put you in the right position to get judged. Okay? Just like he did Pharaoh in the Red Sea. The Egyptians hardening their hearts, hardened Pharaoh's hearts. The morning of, or Salakia, at the time when the death angel came, when I believe it was daybreak, when you could hear the cries of the Egyptians, you know what I mean? Because everybody has somebody that checked for the most part, right? You can imagine what's going on in Austria right now, because I believe 9 people unalived and about 12 to 20, I'm not sure, pretty much critical condition, might not make it. You know what I'm saying? The guy had pretty much free range to do whatever he wants. And the last bullet, I think he used on himself. So they're not used to extreme violence like that, maybe in world wars, unlike Americans, where it's just like, it's like another Thursday, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14, verse 21. Of course, a classic. But as we can see in this instance, it was legit, just took place not too long ago. Isaiah 14, verse 21, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Verse 22, for I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. Let's watch this. What happened in Austria?
Meanwhile, we are following a developing story overseas where a gunman shot and killed 9 people at a high school in southeast Austria. It happened in the country's second largest city, where police say the suspect is currently dead. Austria's chancellor held a news conference earlier today and called the shooting a national tragedy that has deeply shaken the country. He also said a 3-day national mourning period will begin tomorrow. NBC News reporter Matt Bodner joins me now. Matt, police said that the scene was secured within minutes of that first emergency call. Walk us through what we know happened at this point, but also what do we know about the suspect?
Thank you, Morgan. Well, we've been hearing a lot from the Austrian authorities today, and in particular, a lot about that police response. As far as we understand, police received reports at around 10 a.m. local time of screaming and shooting at a local high school. Police were on site within minutes, and that included units from the Cobra Special Police Forces, as well as medical personnel. This kicked off a large-scale operation that involved more than 300 police personnel by the time it was all done. And according to the Austrian Interior Minister, 9 people were killed before the attack ended. Those included 6 female and 3 male students, plus we're hearing that some 12 others were injured, some of them quite seriously. And then there's a 10th fatality, and that is the shooter himself. We're still learning more about the shooter at this time. Authorities aren't treating him as a lone gunman, and he was a 21-year-old Austrian national local to Graz who once attended this particular high school.
It's different.
Finished his studies there. He committed suicide in the restrooms today, and that
Say
is
it again, baby. Every time you buy a
unknown. He was not previously known to the authorities. One detail that I think will get a lot of attention over the next few days, the gunman was the legal and licensed owner of the 2 firearms used in this attack. That was a pistol and a long rifle.
You know, I think it's important to point out that school shootings, Matt, they're not common in Austria. I mean, do schools there have safety protocols or drills in place to prepare for situations like this?
Well, I think you won't be surprised to hear that the situation is very different in European schools and really schools all around the world. America is unique in the level of access and just the social-wide presence of firearms and school shootings, as we all know, have become essentially a fact of American life. In other countries, there's just not a cottage industry of security firms selling things like whiteboards that can convert into safe rooms. They don't do active shooter drills. It's just not something that people are thinking about all that often in Europe and the rest of the world. And looking at just Austria, this type of event only happens once every 5 to 10 years, going back to 1993. Wow. And, you know, like a decade ago, when I was a young reporter in Moscow, I covered Russia's first ever school shooting. It's a story I think about a lot, Morgan. And the thing that stands out to this day is just how unprepared that community was for a child to bring a rifle to school.
I mean,
Betsy?
no child should have to be prepared for this situation, not there and not here. Matt Bodno joining us live from our London bureau.
Well, you got to get used to it. You know, got to get used to it. This is what it is. Welcome to 2025 and beyond. Let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 49, and we'll get to verse 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs, as a woman and in labor. That's not what it says, but woman in her pangs, that's what it means. So a lot of stress, a lot of discomfort is going on in Austria. 3 days of mourning. Yeah. So, they say they're not used to it. Got to get used to it. Got used to the sword and get used to these arrows, because when Russia starts letting off them nukes, Austria's in the crosshair, right? All them European countries that is giving weaponry and money and finance and logistics to Ukraine is part of this world war. You know what I mean? So that is the international news. Austria under attack. Judgment to Austria. Now let's come back to domestic issues. What's going on? We didn't talk about it, but we got to. Trump is going crazy. He's nuts. You know what I'm saying? What does the scriptures say? Proverbs 21, the heart of the king is in the hands of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. He has him doing whatever he wants him to do. He said, look, send the National Guard, send the troops, send the Marines. Just, tear gas them. Do what you got to do. Get them off the streets, right? LA, gang banging capital of the world, or at least, between them and Chicago, who's worse? You know what I mean? But as we can see, the Most High is not playing around. St. Louis, also very gangster, killing each other, hating your brother in their hearts, gang banging and all that. Most High sent a daggone tornado 8 miles through the heart of St. Louis. So we got to get it together, man. We got to realize that something's going on. We got to repent, right? But until they do that, Most High is going to be kicking the you know what out of our people. Judgment is starting with the house of God. All right, so let's start with 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14. Maybe some of our people can see the writing on the wall and repent and come back to these laws, statutes, commandments, because it's only going to get worse. All right, let's start with 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. We might have another Kyle Rittenhouse show up. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody right now, a Kyle Rittenhouse type time, that's like, I'm going to LA, and y'all niggas better try to do something with me. You know what I mean? Or they don't really have to take a plane to LA, because around LA, those suburbs got the Peckerwoods, the white supremacist gangs. I don't know, probably Proud Boys is over there. They're all over the place. But these white supremacists, biker gangs and all that, they're pro-Trump. I dare you to do something. You better hands off our troops. It's only a matter of time for somebody to get shot. That's one thing that hasn't happened yet. People are getting beat up and arrested and this, that, and the third. When the bullets start flying and cops start dying, trust and believe it's going to turn to a whole world of what. So it's not just LA. Dallas is turning up. New York, Philly, Chicago, that I know of. You know what I'm saying? The OC, the Orange County, like a movie or a show called The OC. It's like Beverly Hills 90210. They turning up over there. So it's only gonna get worse. This Saturday, Trump is having this big parade. He said, if you show up to this parade, try to ruin my parade, which happened to be his birthday. just like, we go there, 2 Maccabees chapter 6. You're going to have to follow what I say. It's going to be, he said, if you turn up, you're going to be in a world of hurt, So, race wars coming soon. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another, and they shall not regard kings nor priests. It's like it, kings nor princes. Slakia. And the course of their action shall stand in their power. All right, so let's watch this next clip. He got the National Guard. He got ice raids. It is a federal catastrophe. But the Most High is breaking this country down, man. And look, and what he's also doing, he's taking out the brothers and sisters that picked the fruit. Somebody got to pick the strawberries and the blueberries and stuff like that. Esau ain't doing it, but Esau's getting them out of here, and the fruit is just sitting there on the vines. So, incoming famine. See all the stuff, the dominoes just falling down? All right, let's continue. Oh, wait, you know what? Slakia. Wrong one. My bad, y'all. Let me see where somehow let me I got my videos mixed up. Let's stay with Trump. We'll get back to this. That's a good one too. But let's get to Trump now, and we'll come back.
Hi there, and welcome to Meet the Press.
Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna watch this whole thing. It's kind of lengthy, but either way, get the message before we click off.
Now I'm Ryan Nobles in Washington as the White House warns of additional military deployments in American cities. With pockets of unrest persisting in Los Angeles, ICE preparing to deploy tactical units to major U.S. cities, and protests against the administration's immigration crackdown spreading across the country. At the White House today, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt doubled down on the president's harsh rhetoric.
The mob violence is being stomped out. The criminals responsible will be swiftly brought to justice, and the Trump administration's operations to arrest illegal aliens are continuing unabated. The position of the Democrat Party is that the federal government is not allowed to enforce our laws and to arrest and deport illegal alien criminals. They're attempting to use a violent mob as a weapon against their own constituents to prevent the enforcement of immigration law. This is deeply un-American and morally reprehensible.
Now, we should note there is no evidence that Democrats or any specific organization are behind the protests in Los Angeles or elsewhere. And as we've been noting, the pockets of unrest have so far been contained to a small area in downtown Los Angeles. But the comments came a day after President Trump, in front of thousands of soldiers at Fort Bragg, vowed to liberate Los Angeles from what he described as an invasion.
Under the Trump administration, this anarchy will not stand. We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy. I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again.
A defense official tells NBC News that 700 Marines are mobilized and in the Los Angeles area, but are not on the streets yet. But they could be sent out as early as today. A curfew ordered by Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass will remain in effect for a second night tonight for portions of downtown. The LAPD says it made nearly 200 arrests yesterday, more than the total arrests made on the previous 3 days, in what the police chief is calling a concerning escalation in unlawful and dangerous behavior. In a nighttime address, California Governor Gavin Newsom blamed the president for the continued unrest, while issuing this warning to other cities.
California may be first, but it clearly will not end here. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. The founding fathers, they didn't live and die to see this kind of moment. It's time for all of us to stand up.
In New York, meanwhile, the NYPD says it made dozens of arrests at an anti-ICE protest in Lower Manhattan. In Denver, police say they've made 17 arrests outside the state capitol, as our NBC affiliate reports that police deployed smoke and pepper balls to disperse the crowd. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott says that he's deploying the Texas National Guard to locations across the state ahead of protests planned in San Antonio. Meanwhile, NBC News has exclusive reporting that ICE is preparing to deploy its special response teams to 5 cities and regions run by Democrats: Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, and the Washington, D.C. area. NBC News correspondent David Noriega joins us again from Los Angeles. Also with me is NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley, NBC News chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander, and NBC News senior national security correspondent Courtney Cubie. David, let's start with you. We've been checking in with you all week. Describe what the mood is like there today compared to what it was like this time yesterday.
Well, Ryan, things are actually substantially calmer here today, right now, as compared to exactly this time yesterday. When I spoke to Gabe at 1 o'clock local yesterday, there was a crowd of about 100 to 200 protesters right behind me. They were spilling into the street. Tensions were ratcheting up with not only the National Guard troops and federal agents that are stationed in front of the federal building there behind me, but also with LAPD, which subsequently moved in and cleared this road of protesters. This has been the trend line. The number of protesters coming out, the amount, the sort of degree of confrontation that they've had with police has been steadily going down. And I attribute that very clearly, based on my observations on the ground, to the major crackdown by local and state and county law enforcement, which has been—
Okay, so we'll stop there, right? And he's saying it's like calming down. So why did Trump add 2,000 more National Guard troops? Why are there, instead of 500 Marines, 700 Marines? We got to kind of look at the bigger picture, right? What is he trying to do? What is this devil up to? Because if they're saying this unrest is like on a few block radius down there in downtown LA, and the cops are like, we got it. You're like, it's not that serious. Like, this is LA. They could really burn this whole city down, like Rodney King riots, and you know what I mean? And George Floyd and all other stuff. So what's he doing? You know what I'm saying? Let's look at it. One thing, let's start with Northern Southern Kingdom rift, right? Because that seems to be something that I've been seeing a lot of. The blacks are like, yo, we're sitting out this one. You got it. You know what I mean? And the Hispanics are like, yo, y'all ain't got our backs. Like, what's up? Like, we had y'all backs during George Floyd. What's going on? And I saw a tweet from Anonymous that said, MAGA wants you guys to be separate. You know what I mean? So you guys got to come together. Now, we can't really take too much from Anonymous because anybody can be anonymous. They probably locked them dudes up a long time ago, and Anonymous is somebody in Langley, Virginia, using that Twitter handle. But I saw a video with Esau walking down the streets of LA, like, look what they did to Kobe and his daughter's mural. Look at that. It's the Hispanics did this. They spray painted it and all this other stuff. And Jake's getting upset. No, it's Kobe, man. Kobe shouldn't be touched and all this other stuff, right? But it's Esau telling you this. So when do we start believing them? So I see it might be a little bit deeper than we're going to sit this one out. It seems some agitators on, each side is saying, they're bringing up videos, which is true, right? The Hispanics pretty much coming at Jake. You know what I mean? Everybody takes shots at Judah for whatever reason. You can't say the N-word. Well, why not? I'm making the N-word great again. You know what I mean? A lot of people take shots at Jake, but they're just all of a sudden being revisited and reposted up online. So trying to have a falling away between, Black Hispanic relations. Now, of course, over in California, they got a lot of bad gang situations where it'd be, going back and forth with the Mexican mafia and Crips, Bloods, whatever. But that shouldn't be the mind state of everybody. Everybody's not in a gang. So, could we have solidarity with our Hispanic brothers and sisters? Of course. I wouldn't recommend protesting. I mean, what does that do? You know what I mean? You throwing a rock at somebody that has a helmet and a damn M16, that doesn't usually work out good for the person with the rock, But, throwing up prayers, you know what I mean, for our brothers and sisters that they, can get past this whole thing is phenomenal. You know what I mean? But I would like to see our Hispanic brothers and sisters repent from praying to a daggone rosary, you know what I mean? Praying to white Jesus, putting pork in everything. Because if they don't, then this is just called judgment. That's just what it is. It's just judgment. You're getting judged right now. So until you realize your faults and repent, it's just going to keep on happening. It's going to get worse. All right. But there's my 2 cents on that. But also on the other side, China, the general is a general or somebody in high ranking said China is going to invade the United States. You know what I'm saying? 2 people already got caught bringing in pathogens to destroy crops. Like a fungus that once released, it eats up the crops, and if some people eat it, you get sick. Another one was it was a fungus and then something else. I can't think of the other thing, but they're doing biological warfare. And as far as the biological warfare, the balloons that were flying a couple years over the United States, looking at military sites and stuff like that, China look like they're ready to strike the U.S. These tariffs hit them. You know what I mean? Their warehouses had to close because Trump is just like not allowing their goods and services to come over here. He said he made a deal with them, but we don't know what that is yet. Well, at least I don't know what that is. But maybe that might be the reason why he on the West Coast, he's getting these troops ready, getting the Marines ready. It might have nothing to do with these protests. We got to look at the bigger picture. Also, with Iran, I was bringing up earlier that if they don't have a nuclear deal, they're going to war. So he might be getting these troops ready and in order and in place for this to happen. And then by the time everything transpires, the troops are already there, locked and loaded. You know what I mean? Taking down, the major cities in America, martial law, So we just got to watch and pay attention. Don't get stuck watching Basketball Wives and Love Island and all that goofy stuff. There's some serious stuff going on right now. All right, so let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 3. 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. The end is manifest, y'all. The end is manifest. I had an interesting dream last night. Let's talk about that too. Interesting dream. It was just a scripture. Well, it was actually 2 dreams, but one of the dreams was a scripture. Let's go to Romans 9 and 28. That was the dream. And something like that, I wanted to share it with everybody. All 3 of y'all. Romans chapter 9 and verse 28. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. So going into for the elect's sake, the time will be shortened. You know what I mean? 'Cause if he doesn't shorten the time, ain't nobody gonna be saved. All right. So wanted to bring that out to y'all. We'll see what happens. This should be an interesting weekend. Everybody that's going out to, camp and everything, stay safe. It's gonna be ice raids and a lot of HOI cities, you know what I'm saying? DMV, Philly, Chicago, New York. So just keep an eye out, keep an eye open, you know what I mean? Don't let nobody antagonize and, push you, verbally to a limit, you know what I mean? Where you react, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what Esau does a lot of times, you know. He wants you to react and then he takes it a step further. So be smart, use discretion. Okay, so Esau's fall. We're gonna go Esau fall section of the Wednesday wake up call. This is where we see Esau falling and collapsing, and it's funny, so we laugh. Let's go with Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 6. Now let me get my video back in order. My bad about that. This is a very interesting situation too, by the way. These kids, these Philadelphia kids, man, I'm telling you, I don't know who's raising them, but they wild. They actually splashed battery acid in the face of a transformer on his way to a Pride Day fest, the opening of Pride Day. Never made it, got a face full of acid by like 8-year-olds. Wait until you see these kids, man. They're like this big. Like, where your parents at? I don't know. But the one thing is, they tracked them on the train and on the block and everything. They had hoodies and masks. You couldn't even see who they are. These kids might get away with it. You know what I mean? Might be like three little angels walking around the city splashing people. Where do you get battery acid from? When you're 8, how do you get battery acid? I never had battery acid when I was 8, but I digress. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Verse 9. Oh, sorry. Verse 8. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Now we understand the faces as flames to be thermonuclear destruction. But in this situation, her face was on fire. It was from battery acid. Verse 9, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So you going to your pride march because you have so much pride. The Most High says, we're going to burn your face off. And that's what he did. I mean, I didn't do it, but, you know, wait till you see these kids, man, they small. So happened June 1st, the beginning of Pride, quote unquote Pride. For everybody on Clubhouse, I'll read it. The Philadelphia Police Department needs your help. The police are investigating an aggravated assault which occurred on June 1st, 2025 in West Philadelphia. The victim told police that she, quote, we're going to put quotes on that. It's really a male dressed as a woman. So we're going to say he. The victim told police he was walking down the unit block of South 51st Street around 1:30 p.m. when a chemical was thrown on him, causing severe burns to his face and body. The victim was taken to the hospital for further treatment. So 51st Street is gentrified area. One thing in Philadelphia, if you get on a train or you get on a trolley, you can see where the gentrification has stopped. You know what I mean? It'll be, you get on down Center City or whatever, and there'll be a multitude of people on the train. And then the Edomites will be getting off one block at a time until it's just Jake on the train or the trolley. You know what I'm saying? That's the gentrification works. And then I've been noticing it for years, right? But you be looking like, damn, they staying on this joint. Where are they getting off at? You know what I mean? And then they get off a little bit further, and you be like, damn, they taking over this joint, right? They really want to kick us out because after a while, like in this area, ain't no so-called black people living around there unless you grandfathered in, like that's your grandmother's house or whatever. But they try to get you out. They're like, yo, we'll give you $300,000 for your house. We'll give you this amount. You know what I mean? I know people that sold their house because the price was right, and Esau moves in, and we ain't there no more. You know what I'm saying? But this is the area right here, South 51st Street. Once you get to 52nd Street, it's a little shaky. You get to 52nd Street, they on their own. If they live over there, you know, anything can happen. You know what I'm talking about? But that doesn't mean they're not there. You know what I'm saying? They walk around with their black boots on and a Black Lives Matter shirt and like, I'm one of you guys, man. Yeah, power to the people. That's a lot of them that's protesting right now. Power to the people, man. But then like when we're all gone or the lights are out or you know, they're on their little computers or in the comment section, we all niggas and welfare queens, you know what I'm saying? So it's all cap. It's all cap. So apparently these kids don't like them living in the neighborhood, and a couple battery acid later, well, let's just see. I don't think they are going to have commentary on this, so I'll just give a description for everybody on Clubhouse. Video recovered from the area included video from SEPTA, which is our public transportation, did not capture the incident, but shows 3 juveniles. Sorry. Can't read that fast. Let me see. 3 juvenile males police would like to speak with. So you see it walking down the street, and they be swearing like this is their neighborhood. They're like, oh, here I am. I live in Philadelphia. I live in Western Philadelphia. And you see these, they are kids. Like these are young bulls. I'm talking about like young. So they got their hoodies on. This on a Ring camera. You see them like running away and like kind of like jumping. After the incident, the juveniles board the L train at 52nd and get off at 60th Street. But you cannot see them. You just see like their hoodies. They're all looking down. They're jumping over you know, they're evading what they call evading or something like that. Now the one boy has a distinct shirt on, but I don't see anybody that turned them in. So they jumping on the train, they're like swinging on the bars and stuff like that. And you see them walking down the street. That's probably 60th Street. So one of them got a shiesty, got the Pooch shiesty mask. Other one has his black hoodie on. So yeah, Esau got a face full of battery acid. Welcome to the city. And the fact they keep talking about it, you know it's an Edomite because niggas, slack it. Brothers get shot every day, B. They don't revisit stories, but this transformer gets battery acid in their face. This is like they just prolonging this joint. Like, did they catch him yet? Here we're gonna revisit the story. Let's see if we can get these young men off the streets. Or these boys, they said possibly could be as young as 8 years old. Yeah. So welcome to the city of Philadelphia. Worst stuff has happened. All right, let's
Salakia.
Khan, go
Hey,
ahead.
brother, Shalom, brother Kasaja. Just recently in Maryland, um, juvenile or high school kids like kidnapped a grown white man, locked him in his car. I think beat him up first, put him in his car, and then set said car on fire. So that's the recently that happened here in Maryland. And mind you, it was an Esau teenage boy and his. I think she may be an Israelite girl that was with him. So that just happened in Maryland, and it's not being talked about enough.
Khan, you know what? I did see that. I'm like, damn, look at her hanging out with the devil. I didn't know they kidnapped the Edomite though. But I said that's pretty graphic. You know what I mean? I didn't click on the story or read it into it, but I'm gonna have to check that out now. That's interesting. And see, that's what happens hanging out with the devil. Go ahead,
Yeah,
sis.
and no, like you see her picture, like look at her, like she looked like she got that spirit on her. She looks terrible. She
Yeah.
got that spirit on her, and she's gonna take the blunt of this too because when I was reading about it, she the one that bought the gasoline to light the white man up.
Mm.
They
Yeah, and I'm sure he's singing like Mariah Carey. She did it. I was just there. Never trust thy enemy. The water says. Unbelievable. But believable. All right, so we're gonna get into the weather. All right, let's get into the weather. South Africa. Remember, a lot of people are being destroyed in South Africa. We got to bring them over to the United States. Kick out the Haitians. Kick out the Haitians. Kick out anybody that has any melanin in their skin and bring in the South Africans. Come to find out, the South Africans killing each other. They some thugs. They don't know how to live in a society. So I think it was in Connecticut or somewhere up there north, more northeast than Philadelphia. The guy strangled his wife. You know what I'm saying? Choked the life out of her. And he's from South Africa. So all these peaceful South Africans that are getting destroyed by the violent Hamites over there is a myth. Because they come over here and they're probably not going to survive 1 year because they're going to end up killing each other. It is what it is. But the Most High says, I'm going to further your affliction because you think that you're oppressed now, you will continue to be oppressed. Let's get Ezekiel 35 and verse 7. All right, Ezekiel 35 verse 7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. So don't forget, just because they live in Africa, don't mean they ain't Mount Seir. They still Edomites. And bad things happen. And that's a terrible story. That just happened. You see it on the screen. Everybody on Clubhouse. A mom said that she looks like her daughter. That's even more scary. The mom said her daughter was kidnapped by a white guy, right? By gunpoint, which not saying that never happens, but it's just kind of a little bit far-fetched. You know what I mean? Normally people that rob people, they steal their car, jewelry, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But kidnapping is not like at gunpoint is something that you see a whole bunch of. So apparently the police were like, we gotta look into this. So that happened last night, Amber Alert, and then today they found her body. Allegedly, it was her down in Maryland, of all places. So apparently the mom did it or knows something about it, but I don't know that whole story. It just happened, so I don't want to talk about it too much. Maybe next week, depending on what else is going on. Okay, let's get Psalm chapter 148, verse 8. And for those on Clubhouse, it came up on the screen as like hit this next video. That's why I'm talking about that. But let's go back to South Africa. Psalm chapter 148 and verse 8. Fire and hail, snow and vapors, stormy wind, fulfilling his word.
Hi there, and welcome to Meet the Press Now. I'm Ryan.
Oh my goodness! Wow, Slovakia. All right, here we go.
49 people have been confirmed dead after heavy floods and torrential rain swept through South Africa's Ortambo district. In a separate incident, a minibus carrying school children was also swept away in heavy floods in the Eastern Cape province that resulted in the death of 4 children. Additionally, 4 more children continue to remain lost. Relentless downpour and snowfall lashed the eastern and southern provinces, with the entire country experiencing extreme winter weather conditions for over a week. According to the government, several hundred people have been displaced, mainly from Ortambo. Many of those affected have been relocated to schools and town halls. Weather officials have reported visible blankets of snow on the mountains between Barkley East and Kowa in the Eastern Cape. The region has also experienced widespread power outages and a fatal road accident. Nearly 300,000 homes across 14 towns and villages in the Eastern Cape have been affected by electricity cuts, while an additional 196,000 homes in 24 areas of KwaZulu-Natal are also without power. The South African Weather Service has now forecast several days of disruptive rain and snow, with a cold front sweeping across large swathes of the country. Authorities have been prompted to close portions of major highways. South Africa often sees snowfall during its winter months from June to August, with temperatures frequently dropping below freezing point. Flooding is also a recurring challenge, and scientists warn that climate change is intensifying rainfall patterns across the region.
Back real quick. Ham's hair is
4 more children.
That is, look at that. He is the bed. Look at that haircut. It looks like he has like one of them small caps, like the Jewish men wear, but it's his hair. I might get my hair like that, man, for July 4th and just come in. You know what I'm talking about? Come in strong. That is a strong haircut. I'm done. Okay.
He want to be bald so bad.
I know, that's terrible. Oh boy is going with the win. All right. Let's get Ezekiel. Let's go back to Ezekiel 35. And we're going to go with verse 10. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine. I am South African. No, you're not. Stop. And we will possess it, whereas the Lord was there. You're just going into Africa and saying I'm African now. That just doesn't work. You know what I mean? That is not the way this thing works. Not how any of this works. Okay. But the Most High God, I got something for him. 49 gone like that, and school buses getting swept away. And apparently it's not over. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on to the wrapped out section of the Wednesday wake up call, where we talk about 2/3 and, make sure that we don't think that we just got a ticket into the kingdom. You know what I mean? We just got to keep everybody honest. Got to be honest. Let's just be real about it. You know what I mean? You can be doing the right thing and you switch up at the end. Most High will forget about the things that you've done. You know what I mean? If you go into your sin and all that, you know what I mean? There's a judgment, right? But don't slip at the end. You slip at the finish line, you gotta finish the race. Okay. Endure to the end. He who endures to the end, the same shall be saved. Okay, let's go to Jeremiah 31. No, Salakia. Yeah. Let me see. My bad. Let me make sure. See where we're at with it. Matter of fact, let's go to Psalm chapter 5 and verse 9. So the wrapped out section, we're gonna talk about this sister that, and it's crazy. That's the Spirit talking about the Eve messing with Esau, right? Eve messing with Esau, and the bad things that can happen as a result, right? Now she's booked, she's buying gas. It's gonna be hard to say I was just trying to fill up my tank when he burned up somebody in his car, right? With this situation, Eve messing with Esau, Esau is a serial killer. Esau planned out to chop up this woman, you know what I'm saying? And put her body parts all over the daggone state of, I think, Michigan, might have been Milwaukee, in that area. Okay, they're gonna talk about it, but the it happened last April, And when it comes out and what happened as a result, like what he did, he planned this out. She was coming over his house. He has all types of butchering things there. She got chopped up that night, and they found her leg the next day, I believe, right? So, and they're still looking for her head. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that it's sweet. Oh, I'm divesting, swirl life and this, that, and the third. First of all, Esau looked like a terrible person. You know what I'm saying? He's 33 years old. He messing with this girl. She's 19. She's in college. She probably, I got an older man, and his hair looks terrible. He's trying to be looking like Jesus or something like that, with stringy, dirty blonde, lice-infected hair. This dude had her come over. They go to the bar, whatever, have drinks or whatever like that at the bar, have a nice seafood dinner, probably crabs and lobsters and all types of abominable food, right? And they go to watch Netflix. And on Netflix, they watch a show about chopping people up. That didn't ring his bell like this. All right, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm drunk. I'm gonna chop off her head and all this other stuff. No, he planned this beforehand. She's the only one that just couldn't see it. So Eve be out here looking hella dumb, thinking that I ain't messing with these black men. You know what I mean? They terrible. This brother, this white man right here, this is the one I need to be with. Well, it didn't end up good. All right, let's get that. Psalm 5, verse 9. And there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulcher. They flatter with their tongue. Now let's get that in the GNT. Slakia. Psalm chapter 5. This is the book of Psalm chapter 5 and verse 9. What my enemies say can never be trusted. They only want to destroy. Their words are flattering and smooth, but full of deadly deceit. And in her case, it was deadly deceit and even chopped up her body. Her family to this day cannot find her head.
It has been more than a year since body parts surfaced throughout Milwaukee County, launching a massive search for a missing teenager, Sade Robinson.
Police say Robinson was last seen alive on a first date. It is a crime filled with twists and turns, and in 1 week, the trial is expected to start for the accused killer.
Tonight, our Bria Jones has new video, new witness accounts that paint a picture of how we got here.
April 2nd, 2024, a gloomy spring day in Milwaukee County. The waves of Lake Michigan bringing a chilling discovery, a severed human leg in Warnimut Park. The grim finding would unravel the mystery of the disappearance of 19-year-old Sade Carlina Robinson. Prosecutors say Robinson vanished after a first date with 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson. Unsealed warrants revealed a confidential informant told investigators Anderson planned to kill Robinson. A seemingly fatal attraction, leading to an investigation spanning 2 states and the arrest of Anderson for homicide, arson, and mutilation charges. To understand what happened next, we need to go back to the day before April 1st, 2024. Court records show text messages between Robinson and Anderson between 4:15 p.m. and 5:18 p.m. Anderson texts, "Are you hungry? I need to stop at Twisted Fisherman to pick up my W-2 from last year, and we could eat there first." Robinson responds, "Okay," and "Yes. Are we eating at the Broad House or the other place?" Anderson replies, "Let's eat at Twisted. I'm feeling seafood." Robinson answers, "Yes, I love seafood." Still images from surveillance cameras show the two inside the Twisted Fisherman. Investigators say Robinson had Life 360, a location tracking app. It placed her at Duke's on Water and later at Anderson's Milwaukee home, 39th in Oklahoma. It's the last place Sade's loved ones believe she was seen alive. Her phone pinging at his home until 12:45 a.m. on April 2nd. Do we know how Sade met Maxwell Anderson?
So from my understanding, it was no dating app. It was a friend of a friend. So a friend that worked at Pizza Shuttle cousin was the bouncer at Victor's, which was friends with the bartender who was Maxwell.
Kiki is Robinson's cousin. She hasn't shared her last name publicly, but over the last year, she's led searches for her cousin and pushed for answers. Now, for the first time, she's sharing these videos of Robinson the night before she disappeared. Robinson was spotted out at Victor's nightclub where Anderson was a bartender. You can see part of what appears to be Anderson's distinctive arm tattoo.
Another one of my family members reached out to me stating that they were at the bar with her, the Easter 31st at Victor's, and that they were having drinks. And they seen her with this man, and then it was described as the demon, who we call him, Maxwell.
Robinson was reported missing by a friend after she didn't show for a shift at Pizza Shuttle on April 2nd. That same morning, Milwaukee police say a car was set on fire near 30th and Lisbon. Detectives later learned it was Sade's vehicle.
I just heard the car crash. It was a big bang, and I saw the car outside of my window, so I come outside, and by the time I come outside, I see the flames start, and I just see this taller white guy just running away from the car.
In that moment, Ashley Ryder says she didn't realize what she was witnessing.
I remember his face when he turned around because he looked so shocked, and then I found out a couple of days later what was actually going on.
Hours after the car was torched on April 2nd, a man discovered a severed leg with pink toenail polish at Warnimont Park in Cudahy. The same place investigators would later say Robinson's phone was pinging between 3 a.m. and 4:30. April 5th, less than a mile from the car fire. A body part was found in the same area of 30th and Lisbon. April 6th, remains were discovered at 31st and Galena. The next day, more remains were found at 31st and Walnut. At one point, Kiki says she found a blanket with Robinson's face on it lying on the ground in Galena Park.
I looked down and I seen Sade's face just flipped over. And my heart instantly just started to beat. And I just yelled to my sisters, like, I just found her blanket, everybody. And everybody just ran over to me. And then the detectives just showed up. Like, nobody called them, they just showed up. And I told them, like, we just found her blanket. So then they started, like, shutting off the area. Did you ever find anything else? I did. I found her bone. And I was about to pass out, and I didn't, because everybody else around me was crying. Like, everybody was emotional. But I can't get emotional because I'm going to break. And if I break, I'm not going to be able to search.
Fox 6 obtained surveillance video from a business near 31st and Walnut. It shows a person with clothing that matches what detectives say Anderson was wearing on a MCTS bus to head home. The person appears to be wearing a hoodie and a gray backpack. This is similar to surveillance images in the same area prosecutors shared in the criminal complaint. Days later, Anderson was arrested, making his first court appearance on April 12, 2024.
At this time, we don't believe that there are any other victims out there and that the person who is responsible for this heinous crime has been arrested.
Are you still searching for remains for Ms. Robinson?
Yes, we are.
As detectives used everything from flashlights to sonar boats, Robinson's loved ones searched far and wide with community support.
One day, we actually walked 21 miles. That was between there and back. We walked east, we walked west, we walked all the way probably to Racine.
On April 18th, 17 days after she was first reported missing, Robinson's torso and arm were found in South Milwaukee. Nearly a month later, her arm washed up on the beach in Waukegan, Illinois.
What are you still searching for? I'm going to say her crown, her head is still missing. So that's why I support and we still do all these memorials and stuff so that people don't forget that we still don't have all of her.
To this day, pieces of Sade Carlina Robinson remain lost to the world, a somber reminder that justice still waits in the shadows. Bria Jones, Fox 6 News.
Let's get Psalm chapter 55 and verse 21. like literally just scattered all over Milwaukee and Illinois. You know what I'm saying? And if you know, Clubhouse, I'm sure you have seen or heard about this case. The dude don't look like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's just an Edomite, you know, with hair that he probably hasn't washed in years. You know what I'm saying? And he probably has bath day. You know, he has a bath day. What makes this guy intriguing? You know? I don't know. Probably had smooth words. Hey, you want some seafood? You know, you put some seafood in front of them, you give them some shrimp and chicken, they love you. You know what I mean? But let's get that. Psalm chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. He knows what's going to happen. He went out with that intentions. Here, you want another drink? Here, okay, have another one. You know, hey, you want some shrimp? Knowing this is her last meal. He planned this out. She died that night. Her phone was pinging at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, which means they watched that Netflix special about dismembering or whatever. He killed her, dismembered her, all within record time. I don't know how long it takes to dismember a body, but damn, he's already somewhere at 3 o'clock, dumping her in different places of the country, or not country, but different places of the state. You know what I mean? That's why the Most High says, look, leave them alone. You know, you never know what they're thinking. He has this planned out. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were smoother than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You know? So divesting or, you know, getting white zaddy and stuff like that, it ain't the thing to do. That ain't the move. You know? Who chops people up? Esau. Jake don't do none of that, man. That's a whole nother level of barbarism. You know what I mean? Just gone. Jake's at a party or a bar, somebody steps on his sneakers, he's emotional, he starts getting to shooting. He's not going to chop people up. Now, not saying that one's right, but one is just really, really, really off. You know what I mean? You chopping people up and they can't even find her head. You know what I mean? But that's wrapped out. Stay within the 12 tribes of Israel, man. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself a righteous husband. Get yourself a righteous man, you know, that wouldn't even think about chopping you up. Mind-boggling. All right. Now, two more segments. We're going to talk about health. You know, we like to go all around different places, the international, what Trump's doing, with top stories, but we got to always come back to, you know, this very important topic, our health. You know, we could talk about people chopping up sisters and National Guards and stuff like that, but if we ain't got our health, we ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? Health is wealth. You know, you could know all the stuff, every precept, break it down, dark sayings, all that. But if your health is failing, then you ain't gonna be here long. So let's make better decisions as far as our health goes. You know, put down the soda. We know it's bad for us, so stop drinking it. You know what I'm saying? I would say if it's something that you have a problem with, you know what I mean, limit it as much as possible, and switch over your drinks to tea and water, you know what I mean, and like things that will help your body rather than hurt it. Okay, fruits and vegetables, very important. Your parents told you you're not getting up until you eat your vegetables. Now you're an adult, you eating ice cream for dinner. That ain't how it works. Your parents are trying to tell you something for a reason. You go over in Europe, 30 countries ban the stuff that we eat on a daily basis. Like, it's poison. They understand it's poison, and you cannot sell it, or you'll probably go to jail or get fined. Do you know what I'm saying? But we eat it like it's every day. You know what I mean? Chips and dips and all that have dyes in them, red dyes and yellow dyes and blue dyes and all that. It was, before I put this on, it was one woman that went from the United States to Germany. She says, I'm eating the same stuff I ate in the United States. I didn't change my diet at all. See these Twinkies and cupcakes and all that? I eat this, but it has more natural ingredients than the United States. It's not all synthetically made. It's not made in a laboratory. And she said, I lost like 30 pounds just for eating the same stuff, but just not all the disgusting stuff that's in it. So just know that we're being poisoned. Now that we're adults, we got to, you know what I mean? It's one thing to know it. It's another thing to know it and act on it and change up your diet. All right, let's get Psalm chapter 46, verse 10. So this, we're going to talk about chamomile tea. This has a nice, delicious tint to it. You put some honey in it. You know what I'm saying? Have it for, you wake up in the morning, have some maybe at night or whatever like that. Very delicious tea. Okay. And it calms us down. It can calm you down, and you need to calm down. Okay. You look what's going on in the world. You gotta relax. You gotta take it easy. God is judging this place. You don't know what to do. And then if Trump comes and tries to take me out of my house, and then like you worried about stuff that you don't have no control over. You know what I'm saying? What you do have control over is how you react to certain things. What you do have control over is you in your level of sin and minimizing that as much as possible. Offend less. Okay? So you can have God on your side when these times really start turning up, and you can see them really turning up. All right. Let's get that Psalm chapter 46 and verse 10. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Relax. So this is about relaxing. This chamomile is healthy for you, it's beneficial, but definitely it'll give you a nice level of relaxation. All right, let's watch this video.
9 benefits of chamomile. Ever wonder why chamomile tea is everyone's go-to for winding down? This humble little herb isn't just about relaxation. It's a natural wellness powerhouse with benefits that go way beyond helping you catch Z's. From soothing the skin to boosting immunity, chamomile has been cherished for centuries for good reason. Here are 9 amazing benefits of chamomile that might just make it your new favorite herb, and a bonus culinary tip you won't want to miss. Number 1. Relieves stress and anxiety. Chamomile has mild sedative properties that can help to ease stress and anxiety. This effect is due to the plant's flavonoids and terpenoids, which have been shown to interact with brain receptors that influence emotions and mood. Regularly sipping chamomile tea or using chamomile essential oil can be an effective, natural way to find calm in moments of stress. Number 2. Promotes better sleep. If you're struggling with insomnia or restless nights, chamomile is a popular, natural remedy. Known as a sleep-inducing herb, chamomile contains apigenin, an antioxidant that binds to certain receptors in the brain, helping reduce insomnia and improve overall sleep quality. A cup of chamomile tea before bed can create a relaxing bedtime ritual to ease you into a peaceful slumber. Number 3. Eases digestive discomfort. Chamomile is gentle on the stomach and can alleviate several digestive issues. Its anti-inflammatory properties help calm the digestive tract, making it an effective remedy for nausea, bloating, gas, and even irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Drinking chamomile tea after a meal can help your body process food more smoothly, reducing the chances of discomfort. Number 4, reduces inflammation. Thanks to its natural anti-inflammatory properties, chamomile can help reduce inflammation throughout the body. The herb's active compounds, such as chamazoline, act as natural anti-inflammatories that can be especially beneficial for conditions like arthritis, skin irritations, and even gastrointestinal inflammation. Number 5, supports skin health. Chamomile isn't only for drinking, it's a skin superfood too. The herb is packed with antioxidants that fight free radicals and support the skin's natural healing process. Chamomile extracts and oils are often found in skincare products for their ability to soothe conditions like eczema, acne, and dry skin. Apply chamomile tea or diluted chamomile oil directly to problem areas for calming relief. Number 6, alleviates menstrual pain. Chamomile has been used for centuries as a natural way to reduce menstrual cramps and discomfort. It contains properties that help relax the uterus and reduce the severity of cramping. Drinking chamomile tea can ease pain and provide a comforting way to manage symptoms during menstruation, making it a popular natural remedy for period pain relief. Number 7. Boosts immune health. Chamomile tea is known for its immune boosting properties, which can help the body fight off infections and illness. The herb's antioxidants, including polyphenols, work to strengthen the immune system and combat harmful bacteria. Regularly drinking chamomile tea or using chamomile essential oil aromatherapy may help keep your immune system resilient. Number 8. Relieves allergy symptoms. Chamomile's anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties can help relieve symptoms related to seasonal allergies, such as itchy eyes, sneezing, and runny nose. Chamomile acts as a natural antihistamine and can reduce inflammation in the sinuses and airways. However, those with ragweed allergies should proceed with caution, as chamomile is part of the ragweed family. Number 9. Promotes heart health. Chamomile contains flavonoids, compounds linked to a reduced risk of heart disease. These powerful antioxidants work to lower blood pressure and bad cholesterol levels, which are major contributors to cardiovascular issues. By sipping chamomile tea regularly, you're giving your heart an extra boost, helping to keep it healthy and strong. Bonus, culinary delight. Chamomile isn't just for tea, it adds a mild floral flavor to a variety of dishes. Chamomile flowers can be used in baking or infused in syrups for desserts, cocktails, and even savory dishes. Its delicate taste pairs well with honey and lemon, adding a unique and calming twist to recipes.
All right, so yeah, a little bit of lemon in your chamomile tea, a little bit of honey, that joint right. So if you never had it before, check it out. I know Trader Joe's, depending on where you're at in the world, sure it's a Trader Joe's somewhere, you know what I mean? They got organic chamomile tea for like $2.99. You know what I mean? They got a lot of Trader Joe's in East Stalls neighborhoods, so take a trip. You know what I mean? Go in there and you get good quality stuff for the most part, good quality stuff at a discount price because they don't have advertising. You don't see a whole bunch of Trader Joe's circulars or commercials and stuff like that. So the money that they don't use on advertising, their prices can be lowered. All right. Or other places, you know what I mean? You don't have to spend $10 on a box of chamomile tea, organic chamomile tea. You can find a reasonable priced tea, and you get like 10 to 20 tea bags, and like they were saying, inflammation, menstrual cramping, relaxation. If you put like this, you put honey in your tea before you go to sleep. Make sure you brush your teeth because you don't want to wake up with cavities. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, so that's our health section of the class. Let's get Exodus 14:14. And this goes with also what's going on in the streets. How come the blacks aren't fighting for us? Because I mean, if you were Israelite, you ain't supposed to be fighting outside in the streets anyway. You let the Most High do it. He said vengeance is his. So that's why you sip your chamomile tea, read your scriptures, and pray to the Most High. That's more powerful than anything else you can do. You know what I mean? Running from cops and putting mask on your face and getting maced and tear gas and all that. That's not the way to go. When it's time for the Israelites hit the streets, you gonna know it. You understand? All right. So Exodus chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. So hold your peace, sip some chamomile tea. You know what I mean? Pray for your brothers and sisters, and pray that they understand what judgment is. Just banging your head against the wall, thinking everybody's supposed to come out there and fight the cops and all that. They got Marines. I'm saying, do we have any air superiority? You know what I mean? When you have Black Hawk helicopters flying around LA, with gunships on them, I don't know, I know people been watching movies and if I do a flip and then I throw a rock and it'll knock the helicopter off the course and all this other stuff. Man, listen, we dealing in reality. You know what I mean? Esau don't even have to be in them daggone helicopters. They could be in what do they call them? The drones, the Reaper drones. Don't nobody have to be in them. And all you have to do is press a button, and then you have a massive, was a Hellfire missile destroying your entire block. You know what I'm saying? You got to be smart, man. Pay attention. The art of anger, okay? Focus your energy and your time to the most high, taking care of business. And you ain't gotta hit the streets and throw rocks at people that have guns. Makes sense to me, but don't say HOI told you to do it. All right, so last video. Now the last video is this foul language, so let me give a disclaimer on that. And it's Cardi B and Offset. This is a beautiful union, right? Between ratchetness. One ratchet female and another ratchet male, right? Getting together, having children, and now they hate each other and they threatening to crash out. And Cardi B said, "I'm gonna kill you." He said, "I'm gonna crash out on you." And Stefan Diggs is giving pink cocaine out on boats. Just a whole bunch of folly. So this is another 2/3 episode of what not to do. Okay, so let's go to Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22, because in her statement, she's not saying I'm leaving this guy because of you know, infidelity or whatever like that. She's really saying like he's embarrassing me in front of other women. And women have an issue with that. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be honest. Women do a lot of things, unfortunately, to to impress other women. You know what I'm saying? Like her marriage is done. She's like, matter of fact, I don't gotta say it. Let me just play the video and then we'll read Jeremiah in a little bit. I mean, after this video. Like I said, foul language is, unfortunately, I can't mute out all these curse words that she's gonna say. But I want you to get the premise of why she's leaving him, why she did what she's did, is because embarrassment of other women.
Like me, you know that? Yeah. You look like me? Yeah. You know who else you look like? Yeah. It was becoming a liability. You know how many weak ass rap bitches, from the biggest to the lowest? I feel like all they had, because a bitch can't sub me for nothing. A bitch can't talk shit about me for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a bad bitch from head to toe. Bad bitch from head to toe. I could rap. I do numbers. My kids look cute. I got good jewelry, good cars, property owner. You know what I'm saying? A bitch can diss me or play me in nothing. Bitch can talk about shit about me in nothing. There was all every single time they talk shit about me was a one thing. When you start becoming a liability and you start to get in between my work, I couldn't even diss these whack bitches. Because every single time I diss them, they always bring up that one thing, person. I was getting in between my work. I'm not gonna lie and I say it wasn't helping me with my work. When I say helping, I'm not talking about writing or none of that shit, just helping me. Because we did help each other with our jobs. But it's like you helping me and yet you destroying me at the same time. Because from the smallest bitches with no certification, with no nothing, with talentless as will diss me just over one person. Had to go. You becoming a liability to my work, you gotta go. Now these bitches gonna pay because now y'all can talk shit about nothing.
Immigration raids are
So, you know, so her marriage, right? Now, I'm not saying Offset was a prize or anything like that, right? But and that's why we talk about polygamy, having multiple wives. Um, I don't know if Cardi would have been down with that. You know what I'm saying? Because not be, because really she looks at the image more than anything. She wants to see her image. She's like, how do other women see me? These my rivals see me in this type of light, and I'll have, married with another wife for Offset. Nah, it ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? And I don't know if the conversation ever came up between those two. I don't think Offset's a um, Israelite or whatever like that. But just say for instance say for instance he brought that up. She might not been down with it because how other people would see it. And a lot of women think about that. A lot of women care what other women think. Our women care what a woman that has nothing to do with her, like nothing to, bigging her up, you know what I'm saying? Making her a better person, building her household, nothing. But, somebody that might be on the other side of the world, on the other side of the country, but care what this next woman thinks. That has to stop, man. Cut it out. Okay. Now, they were saying that he was cheating, but he was saying she was cheating. She was cheating while she was pregnant, which is really disgusting. You know what I mean? Um, but that matchmake wasn't like if anybody had a, a spiritual eye could see it was might have been good on the outside, but just peeping the game. They divorced like 2 or 3 times and got back together, or separated 2, 3 times or something like that and got back together. But it's unfortunate because now, her children and their children are in the middle of this thing. And he wanted alimony. He said, look, Cardi, the thing about Cardi, right? She can bend over and show her butt and then sell copies, sell albums. You know what I'm saying? Not saying she doesn't have any talent, but she puts her talent up there with the ratchetness. You know what I'm saying? Cardi B is actually very smart. You actually listen to some of her interviews. She'll give you, you know, insight into her thoughts. Then she's like, hold on, let me get the ratchetness in because the ratchet pays the bills. You know what I'm saying? So she's not dumb in that aspect, but pretty dumb in the bigger picture because, you know, um, I don't think God is down with that, right? So he wanted alimony. He said, you got all these millions of dollars, you gotta give me a couple dollars. She ends up getting his son, right? I think his name is Wave, the same haircut as Stefan Diggs, the same braids as him, like trolling. Like with a man's son, that's not a good thing, man. Dudes, and he said, I'll crash out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you mess with my children, men that you think you know him, until you do something with his child or have his child calling another man daddy or something like that, men will just, there's men out there that will put you in the dirt, and he pretty much said that, you know what I mean? So it's unfortunate the children involved have to go through, with something that adults can't keep together, you know what I mean? Can't keep their emotions in order and intact. But she's able to leave him in order to keep herself looking good for the rat itches, as she says. Let's get Jeremiah 32, 31, and 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. So he's trying to get alimony from her. And she's like, I'm going to get your child the same braids as the dude I'm with right now. Which, she didn't take too long to jump from Offset to the Bull, which is pretty, you know, disgusting as well. But this is uh this is America, you know what I'm saying? And America applauds this type of behavior. I'm glad that all this stuff is happening in LA where we can focus in on some more important things like the destruction of America, like the Most High is destroying this place rather than Cardi B and Offset and all this other folly that comes about. Um, so that is the lesson. Hopefully it was edifying. You know, China's bringing in funguses to America to mess up the crops and things of that nature. Iran, that's something to look into. Iran, the military bases in the Middle East are being evacuated because the nuclear talks are collapsing. Trump has the National Guard in LA. along with the Marines. Governor Abbott over there in Texas is sending the National Guard to certain places in Texas. ICE, what is it? ICE strike groups are coming to Seattle, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and DMV area. This place is collapsing, man. Place is collapsing. And I didn't even get a chance to talk about Russia and Ukraine. That's how much stuff's going on. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, but who knows what's going to happen next week? We're going to talk about other things, all right? But with that in mind, we're going to close out in prayer. Dawada for rocking out. So let's, face the east, prostrate yourself, however, and we're going to pray. Give you a couple seconds. All right, this is the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malafaka, Taba'ah, Ratazayaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashemayim, Nadananawa, Lacham, Cow, Yawum, Wasalaf Nawa, Kabawaf Nawa, Kasalaf Nawa, Kabawaf Yanawa, Wala'a, Damianawa, Banasai one, Abo, Habashinawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Wa Allah, Watapalaraf, Libalumnium, Aman. This book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9, after this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushai, we come to you humble and shamefaced in these last days. We see all the amazing prophecies happening in Babylon and worldwide. Like to say, the Wada, we appreciate all these amazing things that you're doing. Please continue and watch over us, protect us, keep your watchful eye, keep your angels encamped around us so we don't dash our foot against a stone. Build us up mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially in these last days, while simultaneously bringing down our enemies, Esau and the other nations, and the two-thirds. Two-thirds are showing themselves to be extremely wicked in these last days. Get them away from us, Baba Gashar, and destroy our enemies, have them crash out in front of the world, like Trump and Elon and uh, Gavin Newsom and Trump and just a whole bunch of back and forth on a global scale while we sit back and sip our chamomile tea and watch you work and we will continue to exalt and praise you throughout the four corners of the earth. Yahweh Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, the water. Amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kom Yashala. Hopefully it was edifying. Um, should be an interesting weekend, interesting night. I still didn't check see what's going on tonight. If any other cities decide to turn up, but we shall see. And remember, like I said, when some guns come out, man, that's all she wrote, man. You know what I mean? When ICE agencies, because they're just hopping out on people with masks on and stuff like that, they hop out on the right one. They come to Philly and Chicago. You hop out on the right one, they think you the ops and start shooting back, And that happened in Philly, actually at Northeast. Esau dressed up as a alleged ICE agent and ran up in a business with a sister from Dominican Republic, tied her up and robbed the business. He wasn't no ICE agent, you know what I mean? So people ain't even trusting them to see if it's them or not. They're just gonna shoot. So once ICE agents and police officers, LAPD and all that, once they have to go to a funeral of one of their fallen soldiers or whatever, a Marine, what if a Marine gets killed in LA? you're gonna see a whole nother level of this. All right. So best thing to do is repent and keep the commandments and have the Most High fight this battle. And you sip your chamomile tea and be prepared for anything. Kwame Yashala, we got next. Yahweh Shemal Shabrak Shalom. All praises.
Shalom.